Hello friends, let's see the superficial structures of the upper limb. This topic is usually ignored by the student, but this is important topic for the MCQ as in case of the NEET exam or the other competitive exam. In this topic we are going to see the skin, cleavage lines of the langur within the upper limb, superficial fascia, and within the superficial fascia we will try to see the veins, lymphatic drainage, and the cutaneous nerves of the upper limb. Along with that, we are also going to see the dermatomes within the upper limb. Let's see the skin of the upper limb. The skin of the upper limb, it is more thicker, hairy, and less sensitive in case of the extensor compartment. So here this is the extensor compartment of the upper limb where the skin is more thicker, more hairy, and it is less sensitive than that of the flexor compartment of the upper limb. So this area, it is the flexor compartment of the upper limb. Here this is also flexor compartment. When we see the cleavage line of the langus, and these are the lines of the tension, and these lines, they are nothing but they are the orientation of the collagen fibers within the dermis. When we see the superficial fascia of the upper limb, the superficial fascia, it is loaded with the fat and it is just below the skin, and it also contains the fibroareolar tissue, and within the superficial fascia at the pectoral region we find the mammary gland. Within the superficial fascia we find the veins, and these veins are superficial veins. So before going into details of the superficial veins of the upper limb, let's see the venous orientation of the whole upper limb. So when we see the veins of the upper limb, we can say there are two types of the veins are there: the deeply situated deep veins and superficially situated superficial veins. The deep veins, they are actually in the form of the pair of the vena comitants. So what do you mean by vena comitants? These vena comitants, they are nothing but these veins, they are wrapped around the artery and they are in the pair, and this is called as the vena comitants. So most of the deep veins within the upper limb, they are in the form of the vena comitants and they are present in the pair and they are wrapped around its related artery, except in the axillary artery. Within the axillary artery, no vena comitants are there, but the veins are present in the form of the axillary vein. So the deep veins are arranged as the vena comitants around the most of the veins of the upper limb, while the axillary vein, which is not in the form of the vena comitants, but it is a separate vein and it is the only deep named vein in the upper limb. The superficial veins, they are cephalic vein, basilar vein, median cubital vein, as well as the median antecubital vein, along with few other veins. So let's orient with the superficial veins of the upper limb. This is the dorsal aspect of the hand and the lower part of the forearm. We find the digital veins which are carrying the blood from the digits from the both the side, and these digital veins, they are going to form one single vein, and that is the dorsal metacarpal veins, and these are the dorsal metacarpal veins. These dorsal metacarpal veins, they are three in number, and these dorsal metacarpal veins, they are fused to form one arch, and that is called as the dorsal venous arch. This dorsal venous arch, it is going to fuse with the medial sided digital vein for the little finger and form one vein. That vein, it is the basilar vein. While the lateral end of this dorsal venous arch, it is going to fuse with the radial sided digital vein of the index finger and the both the sided digital veins for the thumb, and going to form one vein, and that vein, it is the cephalic vein. So this cephalic vein, it is going to form on the lateral aspect of the dorsal venous arch, while the basilar vein, it is going to form at the medial aspect of the dorsal venous arch. The cephalic vein, it is going to run through the anatomical snuff box, and this anatomical snuff box, it is somewhere present here. After passing from this roof of the anatomical snuff box, this cephalic vein, it is going to enter into the front of the forearm, and the further course we are going to see in the separate figure. While this basilar vein, it is going to run medial aspect of the forearm and going to pass from the front of the medial epicondyle at the elbow. The further course we are going to see in the other figure. So here in this figure, for the orientation, let's see, this is the cephalic vein, which is going to coming out on the lateral aspect of the forearm after passing through the roof of the anatomical snuff box, and it passes upward, while this basilar vein, it is going to enter in the front of the forearm at the middle of the forearm, and it passes upward, and both the veins, they are going to communicate by one oblique vein which passes upward and medially, and this vein, it is called as a median cubital vein. Now let's see the further course of the cephalic vein as well as the basilar vein in the other figure. So here, this is the schematic figure of the ventral aspect, or we can say anterior aspect of the upper limb, and at the upper side we can see this bone is a clavicle bone, while this muscle is the pectoralis minor. At the lower side, just proximal to the wrist, cephalic vein enters into the front of the forearm, and it runs superficially on the lateral aspect of the upper limb, lateral aspect of the forearm, and it crosses the elbow joint, and the cephalic vein, it runs lateral to one fusiform shaped muscle, and that is the biceps brachii muscle, and this vein will passes further upward, and it pierces the deep fascia at the upper part of the arm, where it is going to run within the deltopectoral groove, and at the deltopectoral groove, it is going to passes superficial to the pectoralis minor and going to drain into one important vein, that is the axillary vein, which is present somewhere here. Before going to enter into the axillary vein, this cephalic vein, it is going to pierce the clavipectoral fascia, and after piercing the clavipectoral fascia, it takes a right angle turn to enter into the axillary vein. So because of the drainage of the cephalic vein into the axillary vein at the right angle, the cardiac catheterization is not preferred through this cephalic vein. Now when we see the basilar vein, it is going to enter into the front of the forearm, nearly in the middle of the forearm, and it passes upward and runs within the medial aspect of the forearm. It reaches up to the anterior aspect of the medial epicondyle, and further upward it runs to the medial aspect of the biceps brachii muscle, and just at the middle of the arm, it is going to pierce the deep fascia and enters deeply, and it further runs upward and going to fuse with the two vena comitants of the brachial artery, and these three veins, they are going to form the axillary vein. So this axillary vein, it is the continuation of the basilar vein along with the two vena comitants of the brachial veins. Because this basilar vein, it is continue as the axillary vein at the lower border of the teres major muscle, this vein, it is preferred vein for the cardiac catheterization. This axillary vein, it is going to continue as the subclavian vein at the outer border of the first rib. Now when we see the medial cubital vein, it is the vein which is going to communicate the cephalic vein as well as the basilar vein at the elbow, and this vein, it is going to passes upward and medially. This median cubital vein, it runs within the superficial fascia and over the bicipital aponeurosis, and this bicipital aponeurosis, it is extension from the tendon of the biceps brachii, and that's why this vein is remain stable at the time of the cannulation, or we can say when we want to withdraw the blood from the cubital fossa. So this vein, it is usually selected for the withdrawal of the blood, intravenous injections, blood transfusion, as well as the cardiac catheterization. This median cubital vein, it lies usually between the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm and the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Sometimes this median cubital vein gets the tributary as the median antibranchial vein, and this median antibranchial vein, it is going to drain the blood from the palmar aspect of the hand, and it is actually the direct continuation of the superficial palmar plexus. And this median antebrachial vein, which is going to drain the superficial aspect of the anterior aspect of the forearm, which is going to drain directly into the median cubital vein, either into the basilic vein, or it may bifurcate to drain into the cephalic vein as well as the basilic vein. Sometime in case of the chronic renal failure patient, the arteriovenous fistula is needed, and for the hemodialysis, this arteriovenous fistula is needed, and this internal arteriovenous fistula has been done with the cephalic vein along with the radial artery near the wrist, and this fistula, it is responsible for prevention of the repeated puncture to get the bloodstream. Now let's see why this cephalic vein and basilic vein named accordingly. For that, we have to understand the axial rotation of the upper limb and the axis of the upper limb. As we already know, in the embryonic life, the upper limbs, they are going to bud out from the ventral aspect of the trunk, and suppose these two are the upper limb buds. So we can say the axis of the upper limb is this one and this one. So the border which is upper to the axis, that is the preaxial border, and the border which is below, that is the postaxial border. This preaxial border, it is also towards the cephalic end, and that's why this border, it is the cephalic border also, and this postaxial border, it is towards the basal side, and that's why it is also the basal border. Now with the rotation of the upper limb, that is 90° towards the lateral side, so 90° lateral rotation of the upper limb, it will lead to the preaxial border moves towards the lateral side and the postaxial border moves towards the medial side, and that's why the lateral aspect of the upper limb, that is the preaxial part, while the medial part of the upper limb, that is the postaxial part, and that is the reason the radius is preaxial bone and the ulna is postaxial bone. And with the rotation of the upper limb 90° towards the lateral side, the thumb will remain on the lateral side while the little finger will remain on the medial side. And that is the reason why cephalic vein, it is present towards the lateral border of the forearm, and the basilar vein which is present towards the medial border of the forearm.